I also want to raise the issue of FATCA. This may be something the majority of Canadians don't know much about, but for Canadians who hold dual Canadian-American citizenship, this bill is very troubling. An entire bill about FATCA is enclosed in this omnibus budget bill. This will impose the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act amid questions in the United States about the constitutionality of this act. But the government doesn't seem to care if FATCA will be found unconstitutional because they aren't bound by the U.S. Constitution. They are one of the only governments happy to give up their private details of its citizens' financials. In other words, Canadians' private banking information is to be made available to the U.S. for tax reasons to comply with, wait for it, American law. This bill would give the Minister of National Revenue the power to make any regulation necessary to carry out this highly controversial act. It's entirely inappropriate for the government to present this legislation by burying it in an omnibus bill with time allocation, so we don't get adequate time to study and debate this bill within a bill, and just hoping Canadians won't notice. Well, I suggest, Mr. Speaker, Canadians are taking notice, and they're very, very concerned about these tax changes.
Questions and comments. The Honourable Minister of State for Foreign Affairs.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I just want to make a correction that Canadians are not treated differently as the member tries to suggest in her speech. But one of the areas that we are working with tax is enhancing reporting and verification, trying to combat the international tax evasion, aggressive tax avoidance, and that is something I believe that the NDP would want to support. But to misrepresent any of our clauses in the budget by saying that we're treating the American Canadians differently is incorrect, and I just wanted to put that on the record.
Member for Parkdale-High Park.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But in fact, that's exactly what's happening, is that those Canadians who hold dual Canadian-American citizenship, in fact, are going to have their bank records turned over to a foreign country, which is the United States of America, which is treating Canada as though we are a tax haven here. Yes, New Democrats certainly want to go after tax havens. We want to go after legitimate tax havens where there are billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars being squirreled away around the world. It was this party that fought for a study of tax havens at the Finance Committee, but it was this government that then subsequently laid off CRA staff who are the people who actually collect that money. So we would rather go after the real tax havens, the real tax evaders, than honest, hard-working Canadians who happen to hold Canadian-American dual citizenship.
We have time for a short question and response. The Honourable Member for York South Weston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And on the issue of FATCA, there are probably hundreds of thousands of accidental American citizens who will also be found in this great schism of sending their data to the U.S. And those are the children who were born in Canada, who have never lived in the United States, who have never been a United States citizen, who now the U.S. declares are United States citizens as a result of their parents having been American. Those children will now be subject to having their banking information sent to the U.S. It does create two divides. Two children born on the same day in the same hospital in Canada, but one with American parents, one with Canadian parents, will be treated differently. If the member would like to comment.
The Honourable Member for Parkdale-High Park.
Thank you. I thank my colleague for that question. And there are all kinds of people who are just discovering that, in fact, they hold dual Canadian-American citizenship. And he's quite right. Even if they have never worked in the United States, the fact that they are American citizens because they hold dual citizenship scoops them into this net of FATCA. And I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, my office has been deluged with calls from concerned citizens since this initiative by the U.S. was first announced, and we don't believe that our government has effectively protected the interests of Canadians.